Book 11 of the treatise is entitled, "The Supreme Authority that Sacred Love Holds Over All Virtues, Acts, and Perfections of the Soul." Francis begins his discussion by considering natural virtues, that is, virtuous deeds that are performed outside of the context of the love of God. He notes that God finds all such actions pleasing in themselves, even though they are not sufficient for salvation. Indeed, God takes virtues into consideration even when they are performed by persons who are otherwise wicked. These virtuous actions can be rewarded with natural rewards or temporal advantages. However, they are imperfect, and those who perform them are unable to observe all of God's commandments because their natural reason is wounded and weakened by sin. In contrast to virtuous acts performed by those without faith or sinful people, even the natural virtues are raised to supernatural dignity and merit eternal reward when they are practiced by those who are in a loving relationship with God. Virtues performed by a sinful heart still have value, but the value is immeasurably raised by the love of God. Although divine love raises all virtues, there are some, the theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity, and virtues such as religion, penitence, and devotion, which are directly related to our relationship with God, and that are superior to other virtues when they are infused with the love of God. Certainly, charity, love of God, is preeminent, but each of these virtues should be especially practiced by those who wish to love God. In a person who loves God, the expression can be either a direct expression of love itself, in acts of religion, devotion, or penitence, or an indirect expression through the practice of another virtue. However, even in this latter case, these virtues of lesser excellence share in the value of love itself, since it is love that directs and calls upon their practice. Using the example of branches of different fruits grafted onto a different trunk, and which, while they bear their own fruit, will share in the flavor of the host tree, so too, Francis explains, virtues that are exercised by charity retain their individual nature, but they are colored and enlivened by the charity that motivates them. In fact, they are perfected by the power of charity, so much so that a lesser virtue performed with great love is more glorious than a greater virtue performed by one who has less love. Francis marvels in the glorious reward that awaits those who practice virtue out of love. He explains that this disproportionate reward for our earthly life is due to the fact that souls in charity are united with Christ, and their actions are united with His. Specifically, it is because of the presence and action of the Holy Spirit dwelling within us, who through the gift of sanctifying grace makes our feeble actions His own and elevates them so that the works become His, yet they remain ours so that we receive the merit and reward for them, while He receives the honor and glory. Francis argues that we cannot have just one perfect virtue. The reason is that a perfect virtue flows from the power of our reason, and it's unreasonable to want to be virtuous in one area and not in another. It's possible, it's likely, that we will not have occasions to practice every virtue, but that's not the same as giving into a vice that is its opposite. It is also possible that some people who in fact are not virtuous will act in some ways that appear to be virtuous, but are, in fact, simply a reflection of tendencies in their personality. Finally, Francis explains how the other virtues are related to charity. Insomuch as charity affects the practical intellect, it appears as prudence. Insomuch as it affects the will, it is justice. Inasmuch as it affects our concupiscent appetites, it is temperance. Inasmuch as it affects our irascible appetite, our anger, it is fortitude. With regard to the natural virtues, charity perfects those which it finds within the person, and it supplies their lack when they are missing.